You got the power within inside of you, and you just got to figure out how to get that back out.
All right, guys, today I'm bringing you Robert Caudill. Man, this is going to be a fun episode. As you keep hearing about it, maybe you haven't, maybe you should, but, 22 a day is how many veterans are taking their life after dealing with this conflict and battle. Robert's taken a cool approach on helping these guys and gals out overcome their demons.
Hey guys, super excited today. I'm bringing you Robert Caudill today. He's a Marine, so you're probably going to hear the same salty language out of me as you always do. But really quick with his bio. So Robert is a medically retired Marine due to his time with a casualty evacuation unit. He's a rated 100% post-traumatic stress, and with the help of Erin Holmes, they started a nonprofit to teach vets about alternative healing. So this is going to be a crazy wild ride today, I'm sure. So, Robert, welcome to the show, brother. Tell us a little bit about you, who you are, how'd you get here, and all those fun things.
Well, thanks for having me. And, as you mentioned before, I was a medically retired Marine from the Wounded Warriors Battalion, where I spent about a year and a half just recovering. We had to go all the medical appointments. And at that time, they had me on 8 different medications. For pain, there was the sleep, the depression, the insomnia, the nightmares. And after about 6 months of those, it just wasn't helping. I got to the point where I was sitting in the chair in the doctor's office, and that chair was vibrating. It felt like one of those massage chairs from the mall. It was just vibrating so bad because of my anxiety. And
wow.
She kept increasing my pills. Oh, you got to find your happy pill and increase it every time I went in. And finally I said, I'm done. I walked away and I told her no more. She told me she couldn't help me anymore, so I got up and I walked out of her office. And I went cold turkey off all meds while in the Wounded Warrior Battalion. It was very difficult, but before that, I had found this meditation group in Oceanside, California on the coast. And I devoted myself to them for 6 months, where I went to them for 4 days a week or 5 days a week. I was doing it. And I was doing up to 5 hours of meditation, 2 hours with them and 3 hours on my own. And after 6 months, that's when I quit all the meds. And I spent the next 2 months in the Wounded Warrior Battalions doing strictly nothing but meditation. And I was discharged at almost 95% disabled.
Wow.
A year later, I still take no pharmaceutical meds, but I smoke a little bit of the marijuana. And I do the meditation. I rely mostly on meditation. And I could continue to do that, but it's much easier when I mix the both. And I've learned how to kind of use both of them. I'm up to 100% now with post-traumatic stress alone. I take no pharmaceutical meds, and I just rely on that. And then what our group is that we've also used yoga and meditation and sound healing, because that group I found in Oceanside, they use the singing bowls and the gongs and all the healing stuff. And I learned about sound healing. And it was really interesting to me.
All right, so we're going to dive into all this because I'm totally one of those guys that goes, okay, that is some weird like hippie shit. That I
thought I was tree hugging hippie stuff when I first. But it actually caused me to have like one of the craziest hallucinations, flashbacks I've ever had, and it completely convinced me.
Really, that's wild. So, you did how many tours?
Well, I joined in 2004, and by 2005 to 2010, it was 4.5 year window, I deployed 4 times with HMM 364 Purple Foxes.
Wow.
And the first 2 were the casualty evacuations, where we sat on a flight line and we waited till someone was wounded, and we'd actually get a radio call and we'd fly in to pick up the wounded.
Wow.
And so we would get 2 to 3 calls a day, every single day. So we called it, you live by the bell, you die by the bell, because that's what we waited for every day.
Yeah, that's insane. So you come back from all that experience, and now they're putting you on the opioid or whatever regimen of shit they're throwing at you. And I'm assuming counseling services and everything else along those lines.
Oh yeah, before that I went to the Warriors. I was a heavy drinker. I mean, I could put half a bottle of, I used to drink absinthe. It was 184 proof. I drink half a bottle in 3 glasses. And I would add 2 drops of water. Or if I drank my whiskey, or I'd have a whiskey glass, 3/4 whiskey, put 2 drops of Pepsi in. I complained there's too much Pepsi in my whiskey. And I drink 3 of those in 3 hours.
You shouldn't ruin good whiskey with Pepsi anyway. So whiskey stands alone on its own. All right. So you're heavily boozing it up. You're going through all this stuff. What made you even have the thought process that I'm going to go try this meditation crap?
Oh, I was driving down this coast highway, down kind of Camp Pendleton on the road, and there was this building that had this rainbow bullseye painted on it. And I was thinking, like, who's going to paint a rainbow bullseye? It was just weird. And then one day I was driving by and I saw the lady pulling the sign out, and I pulled over real quick and I stopped and I go, what is this? And she goes, come inside. And when I went and laid down, it was all the mats laid out. They had all these singing bulls. They had the people laying down. And I knew what it was, but it was just really weird. But she kept inviting me. And I remember I just stood in the corner, like all like weird, like crazy, like Marine, I don't want to be here.
Right.
And finally I just laid down. And when I laid down, I started having that crazy hallucination. And I've had many flashbacks where blood dripping off my hands. I've seen the dead people like around. So I was used to having flashbacks. But this one was black smoke was just pouring out my mouth. As it came out, it was swirling and making all these crazy faces. And I laid there and I was looking around, and after it was all done, I got up and I asked her, what was that? And she told me it was a bad leaving me. And I was like, wow, like I saw it, I felt it, and I just devoted myself to her. I was volunteering it was 5 days a week, and I was doing 2 hours with them. And I'd set up the whole room, get the free class, and I'd take the whole room down. And it was 5 different styles of meditation each week. So I just learned.
So interesting is, and I'm asking because I don't know any better. Mm-hmm. Do you really think it was the meditation, or do you think it's because you had another purpose? Right? So I heard a couple of things in there. Is one that you were doing this meditation, you went through this life-changing experience with the meditation. Mm-hmm. But I also heard that you were setting the room up, you were taking the room down. And I know just from some of my buddies that have come back and everything else, one of the things that I find is a lot of them have no mission once they're back, right? So they have no purpose, no thing to do. So they get lost in their head and don't know how to transition out of that. Do you think it's a combination of both, or do you think it was just a meditation?
Well, actually, you bring up the purpose. That's what I feel that I did have a purpose for all this, because I call it going in the trenches. Because now that I've learned this meditation, how to get my mindset out of this, I can find guys and I can, particularly my one buddy, I was in the Wounded Warrior Battalion. I was walking through the mental health clinic there, and I saw this guy just sitting there just shaking, and I could just see him, and I knew he was going through panic attacks, and found out. I approached him. I was like, what's going on? And he was trying to go into the counselor to tell them he was ready to go back to deployed force fourth deployment.
Wow.
And I just saw this. I was like, nope. And I got him up and I took him, hey, come over here, and I talked to him. Took him to the Wounded Warrior Battalion, gave him a tour of everything, and then a month later he showed up. We're still like really good friends and lifelong friends now, so it's really cool to see how, and that was my purpose, that I can actually see these guys that have been through the heavy combat. Even though I wasn't fighting or shooting, I was with the CASVAC who was prepared to go into that worst of the worst for that.
Wow.
And that's when I was at the Wounded Warriors, like, I'm air wing, but I was CASVAC. I was always kind of pulled into the infantry group because that's who we supported.
Right.
So that's why I feel that my purpose is to find these guys that are like low down and bring them up. But hey, you can just simply just meditate, and you can do, we do the yoga, lots and lots of yoga. My girlfriend is the co-founder, and she does the yoga, and she has a huge traumatic story and journey that she's overcome for this. Also, wow. And that's where we teamed up and worked so well together.
So I just know me, right? And if I'm going through an experience, and during my time I was in a Clinton era, so I missed all the shit, which I'm somewhat thankful for, but there's always that thought in the back of the head, I should have been in other areas. But I just know that if you would have come to me and said, dude, I know you're going through some shit right now. Let's sit down and hum and yoga and do all the, dude, I'm going to look at you like you got 2 fucking heads, right? There's no way that you're going to convince me to do this.
Oh, well, it's simple because there's many different ways to do it. And the way I do it, and I tell the guys, is you focus on the breath leaving your nostril, that small sensation. And then when you focus on that, that can literally change your whole world. That's your world, that little small, minute sensation.
So, but how do you convince them to even start? Because I know you're going to look at me, and I've done meditation, not well. You know, I've done yoga, and I've done 2 styles of yoga. I've done relaxation yoga, and then I've done hot yoga, which completely whooped my ass, right? So how did you convince these badasses that have stared death in the face with the actions and things they do that they should start meditating, that they should start doing yoga and these type of things?
Well, I do get turned out a lot, though, more than often, but that's a few. They're just open-minded, I would say. And I mean, if I can sit there and tell them, like, some of the different things I've done and calm down my mind with them. And I've been in the full-on, like, panic attack with blood dripping off my hands. And I sit there and just sit down and I have a mantra, which I learned. It's a 5,000-year-old word that I went through another group and they taught me this technique. And with just that, I can sit there and calm my mind down, or I put myself to sleep within a few minutes.
What's the word?
I'm never allowed to reveal it. My teacher, he actually gave me it in the ceremony. And he taught me this, it's a Sanskrit word, 5,000 years old. And once he taught it to me, he forgot it. So I'm the only person in history that knows my word. So I can never reveal it. That's part of it.
All right. That's
very simple. There's like the whole list. You can pull up like mantras and like a list. And I've actually seen it on the list, common mantras.
So now you're running kind of this organization that with your girlfriend that is rehabilitating a good word?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because we're established within the VA mental health. We have our 8-week wellness program instead of clinic. So yeah, I guess because we focus on any disability, any age, any war, any service. As long as you have access to the VA, you have access to us. If you live in Oceanside.
Interesting. Okay. Now you're rehabilitating these guys. They're going through this 8-week course. Do you have any stats on kind of like success rates of people going through this?
Well, yeah, I guess there's one particular graduate we have. We call them graduates.
Okay.
When she was in our program, she was actually on the suicide watch list. When she completed our 8-week program, she came off of it for quite a while because she would actually come to our continuation program, which was a separate area in downtown Oceanside.
Okay.
And when she was coming to that, she was off the list. But when she stopped coming because of the distance she had to travel, we found out that she got put on the suicide watch list once she stopped interacting with our program. So that's what I can say.
That's huge.
While she was attending, she was off it. We've had other ones, as they're in there, they tell us that their range of motions have increased from the yoga and from the stretching they do. What else? Their sleep. A lot of them could tell us that they're more relaxed and they look forward to coming in. It's just like a good way to start and end the weekend because we have a Monday class and a Friday class.
No, it's beautiful. I mean, I've had the privilege in my journey speaking with millionaires, billionaires, and the best of the best. I mean, these guys that are super successful do some sort of meditation, yoga, or fitness working out. I'm really glad somebody's introducing and bringing that in to help with this. I mean, it's an epidemic at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I was speaking with a gentleman the other day that said he's actually lost more buddies to the 22 a day from suicide than he lost while in Fallujah.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to that.
Yeah. And it's crazy for people to wrap their head around. And, I think a lot of people are just trying to throw shit at it to see if it'll work. I really like this low-key approach of if they'll buy in, and then it's 100%, they've got to buy in.
Mm-hmm. Well, another thing, going back to how I convince them, is when I have my singing bowls. Have you ever seen one of them?
No, I don't think. What the hell's a singing bowl?
Well, I don't think we have. They're all packed up because she's going to her class in a few minutes. So it's this metal bowl, and you hold it. It's usually made of 7 different metals, and they hand pound it.
Okay.
And what they do is they
so like a blacksmith process.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If you go to YouTube, you can Google like the Stinging Bowl Village.
Okay.
And it's a whole village that's dedicated to building these things.
And this is the only place you can get these, or?
Oh no, they're all online. But I go to my friend. He's actually from Nepal, and he has little markets.
Okay.
Fair markets, and I buy all my stuff from him because they go to Nepal and they bring the stuff back from Nepal.
Beautiful. Okay.
So I have this bowl, and actually when you hit it, it vibrates. And you can actually, have you close your eyes and I put it underneath your chin and it just, you can feel it right in your throat, in your chest, and you just feel the vibrations. The point of it is that singing bowl, it's tuned to the musical note of F. And the point of F is to help with your heart. If you're feeling grief, sadness, so that note will stimulate that part of your body. And when I stimulate it, it just helps you relax. It's the thought behind it. And there's 7 different points. So I have 7 different bowls that are tuned to your body so we can play to whatever point of your body.
So that's when it starts getting to that point in my mind. I'm like, okay, that's the whole hippy dippy, thing. And I'm not being offensive when I say hippy dippy, because that's where I go because I'm unfamiliar with it.
What I like about it is that when you actually feel those sound vibrations, you actually feel it on your body and it travels to your body. So to me, I look at it as taking an aspirin. That
all right.
Sound vibration is going to stimulate that muscles, the blood vessels, my bones, my ligaments, and every part of my body where I'm putting it, and it's going to stimulate and create it to do something. So that's just how I view it, as taking aspirins.
No,
I still hurt. My body's, the amount I play these bowls, I should be pain-free, but my body is extremely painful. But when I play it, I feel it.
Well, the military beats the living shit out of you. I mean, the uniforms, the boots, there's nothing that's meant to make you comfortable in that experience. And then the physical shit you go through on top of it. So before you went into the military, what kind of person were you? Because going through the experience absolutely changes you. But you weren't the guy you are now with this cool hippie vibe, doing all this type of stuff. What were you like before you went in?
Well, I was, I guess by 21, I was a residential journeyman carpenter. So I was just always working. I was just a hard laborer, did carpentry, and I got laid off from that. I was a janitor. I was a mover. I was a landscaper. So, I mean, to me, I was just a hard worker, but I mean, I was always real shy and never really withdrawn, I would say.
Right. So you're like the rest of us damn jarheads that were not doing anything fantastic in life and had no idea where the hell we were going. So we ended up in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I think there's a common thread with most jarheads in that regards.
Yeah. I joined because I lost my job and I was, moved back home, but my nephew was born. So he got my old room. So I was living on the couch. And I remember I pulled up the couch cushions and I found 3 dimes and I was happy because that meant I could go to McDonald's and get a hamburger. And I hadn't eaten in 3 days because I was so broken. I was like, man, I better go join the military. So that was the reason I joined the Marines.
When you got out, did you have, because I had a couple of buddies that I didn't know why we were in that were homeless prior to them going in. Once they got out, they were homeless once they got out.
Yeah.
Were you the same experience or?
Yeah. I had saved up about $3,000 or no, $6,000, I think it was. I saved up quite a bit. And, I remember I had about 90 days left and I got a phone call on Friday at 16:30 and it said, hey, congratulations, you got 60 days left. I was like, well, okay, that's cool because I had a plan for Wounded Warrior Homes. It's a nonprofit transitional home in Vista, California. Like, great group. So I was like, that's great because the 60 days was actually my move-in date. Monday morning at 07, they called me and said, congratulations, you have 30 days.
Oh.
I was like, I had 90 days 3 days ago. So how fast did this happen? And then I had my money, had a plan. But when I got out, my mind completely spiraled and I just ended up moving and spent all my money on, it was $3,000 on hotels and everything because I had my service dog with me. So I couldn't be living out of my car with him. So I had to rent hotel rooms and friends would let me crash at their place for a little bit. And then I just moved around and then finally, the VA went to the VA for help and they sent me to the homeless shelter. Went in, checked in and I actually watched the guy it was real life changing. I walked in and there's the shower area and there was one guy, this guy was one tooth scrubbing away, like brushing his tooth, happy as could be. Turned around, there's all these naked homeless dudes like coming out of the showers. Like I was like, nope, this ain't me. Turned around and walked out. And 2 days later, I was actually going to check back in because I completely ran out of money. And right when I was grabbing the doorknob, that's when Wounded Warrior Homes called and said, we got your house.
Oh, wow.
And I moved in. And then 4.5 months later, I moved out on my own into a 2-bedroom house, like a mile from the ocean with a 1-car garage, a big yard, and lived there for almost 5 years before I moved in with my girlfriend.
Wow. I'm so glad to hear that because for years I badmouthed the Wounded Warrior Project because of the way.
The Wounded Warrior Project is different.
Oh, okay.
Wounded Warrior Homes.
So it had nothing to do with the Wounded Warrior Project.
No.
All right, good. Well, then I'll keep back.
Yeah, I'm probably equal with you on the project.
Yeah,
they have come a lot. They've turned around a lot.
Yeah. But they were straight up stealing money from.
Oh yeah.
Everything they were doing. Okay. So this is Wounded Warrior Homes. And what is the goal of the Wounded Warrior Homes? Because I'm not familiar with it.
Well, they offer transitional homes for single males.
Okay.
So you could have like kids, but they can't be living with you. So they focus on the men because there's so many options for the married. There's options for the guys that have dependents, or if there's like the women have a lot of options, but the single men with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injuries post 9/11 is who they focus on.
Isn't that interesting? Because, and I want to gently touch on this because there's often support groups for several niche areas, but people always kind of look at the single male as a privilege, but they don't always understand that just because we're a single male, we're going to go through shit too, and there's going to need to be support for us. I'm glad that there's something out there like that, especially for you guys that are going through and battling. Moving forward, you're now part of this organization helping these transitioning vets through meditation, through yoga, probably through a little bit of the happy weed, all that kind of stuff. What is the goal for this?
Well, we just showed that you don't have to take those pharmaceutical pills. Like one of the reasons I stopped taking the pharmaceutical meds is because everybody believed you had to be taking all these pills to get your rating. And I tried to call the BS on that, and I stopped taking meds, and I opened with 0 meds. And I got almost 100%, and then 1 year later, they gave me 100%. And I still tell the VA I do nothing but meditate, yoga, sound healing, and I smoke a little bit. I take the pain creams for my pain. I take my CBD drops for the pain and the sleep, and they still give me 100%. And so that's our goal, is that we can show these guys that you can rely on things like yoga and meditation. You can actually make changes in your body just doing on those if you rely on it.
So are you doing any sort of public speaking on this? Are you doing anything to continue?
Yeah.
Where are you speaking at?
Well, I worked my way through Toastmasters to learn how to speak.
Awesome.
And I made it all the way to Western Division Director, which I managed 26 clubs. And then about halfway through my term, my back went out and my nonprofit started. So then I had to give up the term. So I didn't complete it, but I'm going to go back and do it.
I was going to say, a lot of people that are trying to become a speaker don't know what Toastmasters is. So give them the 36-second synopsis. What's Toastmasters?
Well, Toastmasters teaches you various things. They teach you how to have your confidence to be on stage, how to speak to someone on a 30-second basis, like the boss in the elevator. Or you're able to manage a meeting, how to run a meeting effectively, the different roles it takes to do that. And it teaches you different things. And if you go behind the scenes, become an officer, you learn how to manage multiple clubs and even multiple districts and even internationally.
That's awesome.
So it's just leadership.
So yeah, so if somebody's looking to get into
I promote it for guys
to you actually get the guys.
Even if you're just transitioning, I would highly suggest it.
And why is that?
Because it gives you that military structure. It's like a military structure. They're like, hey, you will do this. You have ranks you can earn. And then I did it because I wanted to learn how to speak civilian again. I came out speaking all the military jargon, all stuff. So I had to learn how to speak civilian, and Toastmasters was amazing. It was the best thing I ever did.
I never even thought about that because especially in the Marine Corps, they beat in a vernacular to you with everything you do. I never even thought about using Toastmasters to learn to speak civilian again. That's huge.
Yeah, you have to learn how to pull the Marine out of your pocket. And put them away, and you have to be a nice civilian at certain times. And
right,
much right. You have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So where's all this leading to, bud? I mean, what's the vision, the goal of this whole thing?
Well, the I journey is basically to show guys that you don't have to rely on these pharmaceutical meds. Your body heals itself if you do it. And you just got to choose which path. Like some paths are strictly yoga, some paths are the meditation, some are a combination of that, some are they like to have the medical marijuana, and it just varies. And with our experience, we just combine. Like my girlfriend, she was in a rollover car accident 5 years ago, broke her back. And through yoga, meditation, and nutrition, the raw vegan diet for that period, she rebuilt herself, and now she's a 500 advanced yoga instructor and the president of our nonprofit teaching our vets.
Wow, that's awesome.
Graduated nearly 100 veterans in 2 years.
Wow.
The 8 program.
And do you have any like stats of those 100 veterans that have graduated your program? I don't know how to ask this other than just to be me and ask it. How many are still with us? You know, I mean, how many are still continuing on with their journey?
As far as you know, we just had one. He passed away just of health issues.
Okay.
But that's just, but everybody's with us. And
that's awesome because that's beating the odds right now. I haven't heard of a program that has that kind of success rate.
Yeah, our oldest is like 84, and our youngest is 26, I believe.
Wow.
And if the caregivers and the spouses are able to come into the program also, so we kind of that's the little
awesome.
perks.
That's awesome. Well, I always like to ask this as we get towards the end of this is if you were to give somebody advice that they could take with them on their journey, you know, something that could help them continue on with their path and mission in life, what would that advice be?
Well, you just got to realize that, you got the power within inside of you, and you just got to figure out how to get that back out. You just got to find your next path and be open-minded and be willing to take whatever path's thrown in front of you, if you don't like it or not. I never expect to be a long-haired hippie when I got out of the Marine, but I'm actually doing this for the Wigs for Kids. That's another thing. We're going to be doing a fundraiser when this gets to 14 inches to cut it off and hopefully raise $1,800 for it. And we're going to be doing it for our group. So it's
nice. So you grow your hair out. They actually cut it all off and turn it into a wig for somebody. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for the kids. Yeah. So I found a group that does it for children.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They'll be they'll be pretty happy getting all long-haired as long as they're not drug tested.
Right. Well, and you're gonna send me a headshot so everybody can see this mop you got going on top of your head. So. Oh
yeah, I'm even gonna do it. I haven't shaved in like 5 years, so I'm even gonna do a thing if they can raise the money a minimum of $1,800 because that's what it requires for the wig to be made. $1,800 to get this shaved.
Right on.
Great rate. So I'm only gonna go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So if somebody's in Oceanside and they want to participate in your program, how do they get in touch with you guys?
Well, it would go to the website and it would through the enrollment because it's an application process. You have to go through Pam. She's kind of our ambassador. She interviews everybody and makes sure they're a proper fit to our program. But if you go to, it's the letter iJourneyHealth.com.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So that way, it's going to be like Robert's journey or Erin's journey when you come through our program. It's we'll base it off of that when we get to that point.
Beautiful.
We got tons of things, but we got lots of building to do still.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can get the word out for you guys and everything you do, and I truly appreciate it.
I'm actually looking for a lot of help with our store, if I can ask for that.
Yeah, please bring it.
So we need someone to be like a sales manager to run our Shopify store. So we need someone that's familiar with the e-commerce. And what it is, I built this Shopify. I took, the Vetpreneur Tribe.
Yep.
I took their 8-week course. That's my dog talking because my girlfriend's saying that. Anyways, way to ruin it. He's like, no, you won't sell. But so we have a store called iJourneystore.com.
Okay.
And we just need someone to manage it. And because I'm a builder, but I'm not a salesman.
Okay.
Commission based.
That's awesome. So there is a gal named Leanne Fox. She's a veteran as well that can probably help out with that. So I'm going to make that introduction. She's going to be on the show too. I'm looking forward to bringing her on, but she helped with a lot of that. So I'll make sure I make that connection as well. Okay. I'm going to use this point just to say, life, a lot of it is about networking and connecting people together. If you can find an opportunity to network two people together, it's a beautiful thing. But also if you're like that Shopify expert and you want to help give back to a nonprofit charity and a group of people that are really, really helping the vets, reach out to these guys and show them what you can do. That would be a truly, truly beautiful thing. Robert, anything else? Any last words?
It'll be paid commission.
Paid commission.
It'll be paid commissions off the site. So whatever the site generates, you get a commission off of it. And that's our goal, is to make sure you're paid.
Awesome.
Because that's how we want to make sure everybody's taken care of. That's how we do it.
Absolutely. And if there's any veterans in the group that I have not looked on Facebook for a group called the Vetrepreneur Tribe, it's over 13,000 strong, and it's teaching veterans how to become entrepreneurs. A lot of good information in there, but there's several groups on Facebook. There's Veterans Circle, which is another great organization that's helping bring in small business veterans together in these communities. But there's a lot of groups that are out there trying to help bring the veterans together, get that camaraderie, and grow as one. So make sure you're out there looking for those, and I'll put some of those in the show notes as well. Robert, anything else you want to share with everybody?
No, thanks for helping and doing this. And it was a great speaking. I love speaking, and hopefully everybody joins if you're in the area.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Guys, thanks so much for listening to this episode. I hope you were impressed by it as much as I was. Man, keep kicking ass in life. Please do me a favor. Comment, share, tell your friends about this. Every share just brightens my day. I appreciate it.